Welcome, Gray Swan Guild. My name's Sean Moffat. I'm co-founder of the Gray Swan Guild, CEO of Cygnus Ventures, and have been part of many of the events and experiences that we've hosted over the last 3 years. I wanted to top line you on one of the 6 kind of core activities that we do in the Guild. It's one of the more exciting things that we do, and certainly part of our history. We've probably done certainly over 150 events in the history of our guild. And it's a great way for members to engage, new members to join us, and us to produce, new ways of making sense of the world. And so I've just hosted a session with a group of people that were interested in participating on the ground floor on some of this stuff. I'm now recording after the fact, just so we have a clean recording for those other people that may want to join. And I would suggest that the reason why we're doing all of these participation showcases is fourfold. One, making sure that people know what we're up to next year, so they know how to get involved. Two, providing them a forum to actually put their hand up and say, look, I've been meaning to get involved in the guild. Now that you've described something to me, this is exactly what I want to be part of. Wonderful. 3, telling you exactly the where, how, whys, and all the different particulars in terms of, how we're going about organizing next year, how they'll probably appear next year, so a little bit differently. And then finally, just making sure that people know who to get in touch with, and if they want to serve up one of their own events, we're more than happy to look at those and create some new energy in the guild. But we do have some rigor and some questions around making sure that the caliber of those events is in keeping with what we like in the guild. So for those reasons, we're doing this set of events, and this one's all about the events and experiences of the guild in 2024. Love to start off some of these presentations with quotes. I really do believe that as opposed to just being a member, we just, quite frankly, love people that sink their teeth into the guild and really care about our values, how they manifest themselves, and play a role in captaining and championing a whole bunch of our different experiences that we host. So this is one of the 6 things that we do in the guild, as mentioned. We're going to cover off the 5 other things later next week, but this is the first one out of the gate. And in terms of tonality, I think you'll see a change in how we're coordinating our events this year. First of all, we've done a lot of experiments. We didn't really know what might succeed in the early days of the guild. Now that we do, we're trying for planned excellence and having a higher caliber of events. We're only as good as our worst event, and so we want longer lead times. We want to make sure that the people hosting and guesting are aware of some of the expectations, and so we want to step up our game this year. We're going to do, for the first time this year, a real life event or real life events. And so certainly that's different this year. We're having a better balance, we think, of open and free versus paid ticketed events. There are benefits to both. And so we're going to host those. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We had no one to answer but to ourselves in previous years. This year, we will have partners and sponsors that will certainly have expectations. They'll hopefully be consistent with ours, but we'll have people to answer to. And then finally, we've probably done stuff in previous years that, albeit fun, were probably orphan childs that didn't really lead to anything but the hour or the 2 hours that we hosted. We'd like a lot of our events to be much more interconnected this year. And so that's from a tonality. All told, it doesn't seem like it's streamlined, but this really is a more streamlined roster of events this year. We're looking at doing 100 guild events, but we'll tell you why. We've tightened up in certain places. We've added in others, but much more organic, I think, in terms of how we get to this number. We have 12 different events in the guild. We'll go into detail on some of these, but we have 3 different types of big events. One is called Marquees. They're big multi-hour events. We do 3 of those in the year. We have special events that we're doing this year. We'll have 3 of those. And we're also doing around 10 different premieres where we reveal exciting new intelligence or research or publishing. We have community events that are really designed to increase the knitting of people within the guild. We're going to be hosting at least 4 salons this year. We'll be hosting a much more streamlined quarterly regatta event series that onboards new members. And we're going to try to globalize the guild much better this year and do 4 different town halls that gets to different parts of the world that we really think should be a focus for expansion. We have 3 what I would call executive caliber, groundbreaking type of events this year. One is designed around peer networking. They're called Sprint Executive Forums. One is around launching certain exciting adventures. They'll have a platform for launch. And one is about learning and craft building. We'll do mini masterclasses in a craft building series. And the final thing is we've got a lot more discussion-based events that are going to happen this year. We're going to host 10 book clubs. We've already started to tease these things out. We're going to be doing a regular segment about AI. We're calling them AI Coffeehouse Sundays. And then finally, we're doing atelier workshops that members can submit their own thoughts in terms of what they want to craft. And depending on our interest and whether they hit the criteria, we'll find kind of areas in our calendar where we can host those things. So those are the 12 events of the guild, types of events. Let's explore some of those in detail. We have our 3 kind of tentpole events for the guild. We call them marquee events. They tend to go across all time zones, whether that is as a 24-hour event or as a 4-day event, as it is in the 1,000-day radar. Our 4th annual Day of the Swan will be coming up. It is a platform for sense making and complexity analysis. It's going to have 3 distinct global parts. I think my co-founder Rob Tyree, who is manning this up, is going to be looking at applying a few different things into this one, both Swan Coin and Patreon and a few other things that will make this interesting. In the fall, a little bit later this year in the fall, we'll be doing our 3rd annual Futures Foresight and Planning event called the 1,000-Day Radar. And this year, we're going to try to plan a segment on all 3 of those days where there is a 10,000-day radar segment, and we look 30 years, not 3 years into the future. And then finally, we've got a book festival this year, our 3rd annual. It really is a canvas for leadership, change, and learning. And what's new this year is we'll have a pre-existing book club that has probably met 6 or 7 times before the festival. And so that will hopefully lead to better engagement, maybe a better acuity in terms of what authors we should profile. We have special events. We have 3 of them this year. Scott Fairs is leading an event called Leap Day of the Swan. Lo and behold, in 2024, we are having a leap year. And so we want to take some of that extra time, bring 100 amazing minds together, and hopefully create a time capsule of both hindsight and foresight and insight. We're going to be doing live events, or at least one event this year. We've kind of put it out there as October 24th. We're looking at venues right now. Potentially, we can do a full event themed around the future of cities. That is a research project that will probably land around the same time period. But there may be other thoughts as well. And then, as always, for the last 3 years, we've done a general assembly of our top 400 members at the end of the year. My hope is we'll have some kind of keynote speaker that will come in, and there will probably be ways to actually join that event through Swan Coin and influence kind of some of our decisions that we move forward with. I won't go deep on these because there's many of them, and I won't probably get to all the others, but about once every month, we'll be hosting a new reveal of intelligence and productions. Some of these are born out of research projects from our Weather Vanes group. Others are from our future research group called the Radar Collection. And yet other ones are from our Cygnus Publishing group that will be launching its new book on September 12th. All of these will have places in the calendar to launch themselves, including, excitingly, December 12th, we're going to build a platform of trends and forces and gray swans that will be subscribable by people. And so it'll be an ongoing platform of what's going on in the world from both a current and futures landscape. We have 3 different community events. The history of our guild is populated with just really good interactive discussions. We're going to host 4 different community salons. One, hopefully, with the launch of something we're calling Platinum Swans, which is a premium tier community of our guild. We'll host 2 different very much in the Parisian style of salon events in June and August. And then we'll hopefully have a good roundhouse discussion on gray swans and what they might look like next year. We're going to have a streamlined version of regattas. These are new members. For those that aren't aware, when you look at a group of swans in water, that is what we call a regatta of swans. And so appropriately, we're calling our new member onboardings that. Denise Sang, who has collaborated with me so well in previous years on this, be hosting one every quarter. These will be bigger events because they're hosted now only once every 3 months versus once a month. And they'll hopefully have more heft to them given the fact we could prepare better for them. And then finally, we're trying to globalize our guild in different places of priority. We've got 4 of them this year: the Alps, Southeast Asia, the Gulf, and Latin America. So once a quarter, we will be hosting town halls that designed to hopefully surface content relevant to groups and people in those places, bring new members and prospectively interested people that want to dive deeper in their guild from those areas, and hopefully create some captains out of this. So create some regional captains that will take the chalice and make the guild live and breathe in their parts of the world. We have 3 different executive caliber level events this year. Part of our Cygnus Sprints group will be hosting 4 different executive forums for different types of C-suiters. We'll have at least 5 ventures launched this year. We have something that was voted on at our General Assembly called the Uncertainty Dashboard. We'll be launching in July. We want to do something along the lines of a summer camp for youth and teach them skills that we don't think they're getting in classes. So hopefully teenagers getting access to a great palette of skills from some of our most talented guilders. September 7th, we will be launching at least 3 different guild masterclasses. And so we may do a few showcase events around that and launch on September 7th. September 12th, we'll be launching whatever our new book is going to be. Working title is Compass, similar to the book that we launched last year, Uncertainty. And then finally, a very exciting project that is hopefully a Rosetta Stone for making sense of the world. We'll be trying to launch our platform on October 7th. The project is called the Compass and Compendium. And then finally, we've done a lot of learning events over the last 3 years of the Guild. We're going to try to gang all of these up on one day and have a complete education day. April 4th, June 26th, September 30th, and November 29th. We'll be hosting 1 paid masterclass. So these will be ticketed events, and 2 different craft building series that will be more free and open. So stay tuned for those as well. Impressively, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of interactive events this year. People love to dive deep and discuss different things. We've got 10 events planned for our book club. I'm holding up here, if you can see, the Coming Wave, which is going to be our March book event, and Ralph Mercer is going to head that one up. Rob Tyree, my co-founder, each and every Sunday, with the exception of maybe some in summer and others on holidays, will be hosting AI Coffeehouse Sundays. And then finally, if members want to submit different types of workshops, they can do so, and we'll just find different slots in the calendar for that. Now, having said that, there are some requirements. In previous years, I think we probably haven't set up people the best for success. We definitely want to be asking these 20 questions ahead of time, and at least be providing 6 to 12 weeks to make sure that whatever member-driven events are served up are given the best chances of succeeding. So please be aware of the scrutiny and the intended caliber of the events that we're trying to get at this year. So in summary, what you get as a guilder that wants to participate as either captains, as co-captains, as part of a team wedge, or as part of an atelier host that will come into our event world this year. We think that we can provide you a reputation bump for yourself. We certainly have a baked-in audience of more than 10,000 members in the Guild. We have a backbone and a process and some influence in terms of how these things work. We may be able to provide you both collaborators and a team and partner sponsors and VIPs. We have content channels and creative assets that we can develop from these events. will hopefully be an enjoyable experience for you that leads to a whole bunch of learning and challenge, and hopefully aligns to our annual vision and mission of being great and adding to the recipe of what this guild's all about. What you give, very simply, my hope is you live the 4 values and manifest them to life: aspiration, collaboration, curiosity, and purpose. We hope you perform with the best of intent and use as many of our success factors in preparing for great events that we've developed ahead of time. We'll share those with people that want to spearhead some of our events. We hope you'll become ambassadors and proud of not only the event themselves, but the guild, and hopefully network and make sure that your message gets out to your own personal and professional networks. We hopefully you'll operate with integrity and accountability and do what you say you're going to do. There's a tax when people don't. And so we love it when people come in and actually perform to their best ambitions. And my hope is you're going to have some fun, but we're also going to get some fun from you. My hope is we can treat these events as just a really interesting and creative canvas for your professional world. We did have a great FAQ discussion in our live event. 5 of the questions that did come out, what are you expecting in terms of attendance at these events? For some of these events, I really don't have a large expectation on how many people come. Certainly on some of our larger events, I would be disappointed if we don't get into the 100+ range of people showing up. It's as much a function and as a measure of, are we doing the right things? Are we promoting these things well? And are we planning them well in advance? So that would be my sense on that. I think we'll have to answer to partners and sponsors as well in terms of size of audience. And I honestly think that having paid ticketed events will have a greater percentage of people that actually applied to come to the event actually show up. On other things, how many people are needed on these events? I think on small events, we're looking at a group of at least 3 people to navigate all the different minutiae of pulling these things off, 6 on mid-size events, and 9+ people on larger events. And so we're really actively looking for those people. That's part of the reason why we're hosting these participation showcases, to surface those people that might be interested. The timing of the events are spread throughout the year. There's also timing in terms of what time of day. We are a global guild after all. And I think in certain respects, we do a disservice to people in time zones that operate outside of our core North American and European time zones. We're trying to get better with some of the town halls that we're doing this year. We're trying to empower people wherever they are in the world through our ateliers. And the commitment, at least from me, from some of our large events, is that we will be doing either 24-hour events or events spread across a number of days or time zones to make sure that at least our biggest events are seen by everybody and experienced by everybody. Finally, our post-production. We've not been great at post-production. So even if you miss an event, my hope is they'll all be recorded with some level of curation that allows you to watch them on video or audio afterward. I know we've experienced the hiccups of collaboration software and tech in organizing events and collaborating on them in the past. We're looking at using LinkedIn groups as a way to have a separate group of creators being able to go deep on some of these events. And so we're going to try that out for 3 months before looking at other types of messaging or collaboration platforms. And that should say drivers behind new learning and new approach. Somebody mentioned this here, why the changes in 2024. I think part of it is there's a new world out there. There's expectations that we'll be doing real life events. People are in their post-COVID world. There's a different time for value people have. And for our own ambitions, we recognize that the Guild is this really interesting 5th place, but it does need to keep the lights on, does need to have both an educational, societal, and commercial motivation. And so part of our ambitions this year is to make sure that our events are in keeping with both caliber and our pursuit of greatness, but also to sustain ourselves and to make sure that we're just not producing free events that are discretionary whether you show up or not, but are so attractive that we'll have paid ticket events that you're sure to show up for. So I will put this in the YouTube channel, all the different links. Please feel comfortable to get in touch with me directly, Sean Moffat. The best email right now would probably be sean@wiki-brands.com. There's 5 or 6 other different links to be looking at in terms of either getting involved, becoming something official in the guild, or visiting our upcoming populated calendar by the second week of February of all the events that will follow this year. This is one of 6 different events we're doing this year, or as participation showcases. It's the first one out of the gate. We'll be covering content and community and intelligence and learning and experiments next week. We'll also provide these links in the bottom of the YouTube. So that's it from where I stand. My hope is you've got a good exploration of where we're going on events and experiences. My hope is some of you step up into the void and join us in organizing these. Certainly, if you lead some of these events, there's probably some other knock-on effects in terms of overall influence in how we steer our guild's operation and strategies. And at the end of the day, our mission in the world is to make sense of it. My hope is what you've seen here suggests that our events and experiences will make a really good foray into the world of making better sense of the world. Thank you very much. Thanks for the time for investment today. And please, 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 back to the earlier point mentioned, please participate in our gilded activities. You will learn a lot. You will be rewarded by the new challenge of trying to lift something off the ground. And my hope is it will satisfy both your personal motivation, our selfish motivation, the guild, and certainly create some level of knowledge and decision-making and professional craft improvement amongst both our guild members and those new members that join us. Once again, thank you very much, and we'll be talking to you in the future.